We'll start first with Herbie Teope with the Kansas City Star. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Marquez, welcome to Kansas City, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'll have two questions, Brad. Hey, the first one, obviously there was a lot going on during your free agent visit on Wednesday. How much did the trade of Tyreek Hill influence your decision to pick the Chiefs over the Saints?
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge decision. I think that with the departure of him, it gave me a really good opportunity to, be in a position to come in and be an immediate impact, right away. And so I think that was a huge factor into it.
And along those same lines, we talk about your skill set. We know about your 20.7 yards per catch average on your career, 17. How do you think your skill set specifically fits what the Chiefs like to do on offense?
Well, obviously, I've been a top deep threat in the league for my 4 years in my career. Obviously, for those stats that speak for themselves, but also not limited to just that. And I think Coach Reid does a really good job of getting his playmakers the ball. And I think with having obviously Pat under center and Coach Reid, calling those plays, I think I fit right in.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher with ESPN. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Marquez, welcome to Kansas City. Can you elaborate a little bit on how you see your role here in the offense? What you think you bring maybe that the Chiefs didn't already have without you?
I mean, obviously, I can't tell you the exact role that I have. I can't really speak into the future, but I know the type of player that I am, and I know the type of player that I want to continue to grow to be. I think that just walking into this building, looking at the roster, they had a lot of turnover in their wideout room in the last few weeks. They think their top 4 guys or 3 guys are all gone. From the year before outside of McCole. So just walking into the building with this opportunity, I think that I provide a spark, and obviously being in the league 4 years, playing with Aaron, I know what it looks like, and obviously playing with Devontae, I learned so much from him. I think that, my skill set will speak for itself, come Sundays.
Go next to Nate Taylor with The Athletic. Go ahead, Nate.
Hello, thanks for doing this with us, and congratulations on the deal.
Thank you.
Similar to everybody else here, I have 2 questions as well. Marquez, you put something on Twitter that was truly notable yesterday, and talking about what it meant to you to be cut from your high school team as a freshman to now obviously earning your second contract. Just from that time to now, what do you think has been the reason you've accomplished this to this point in your career?
Obviously, God first. I wouldn't be in a position without God and the people who are in my life. Obviously, my parents, they've helped me out all just throughout this whole thing from that day all the way up until today. And then obviously the coaches that I've had in my life who've believed in me and who've helped me to this process. I just talked to my high school coach because contrary to popular belief, people think that tweet was, a shot at him, when that's the furthest thing from it. Me and him have a great relationship. I just talked to my receiver coach from high school, actually on my way over to the Zoom. So, just those people who've been involved and just believing in myself and just battling through adversity. Obviously I've been doubted at every level that I played at, and, been able to overcome it.
And secondly, because like you mentioned earlier, working with Aaron, seeing what his connection was with Devontae, obviously, how much of that plays a role when you could be going from one superstar quarterback to the next with someone with Patrick, and just how do you envision that when you first hear that sort of possibility?
Yeah, obviously, me and Aaron have a great relationship, and it was really tough to even walk away because I still had that opportunity on the table to go in and play with him for, the rest of his career, whether that be another 1 year, 2, 3, however long he decides to, go in and play. So walking away from that opportunity and walking into one with a very similar, quarterback, obviously talent-wise, they both won MVPs, both won Super Bowls, so obviously they're both hell of a football players. And I think that just having this opportunity to build something long-term with Pat is going to be, life-changing.
Let's go next to Sarin Petra with 810. Go ahead, Sarin.
Sorry, Brad, I'll have a follow-up as well. Just first of all, your impressions of Andy Reid, right? I know you're going to get to know him, but just what his reputation kind of is around the league and what you're thinking he is as you come in here.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Reid has obviously been Coach Reid has been successful for a very, very long time. One of the best offensive-minded coaches. Same with EB. I think that they've done a great job, over the last 4 years that I've been in the league, of having one of the top offenses year in and year out. So having a coach like that who can get the guys the ball is always important. And he's figured out ways, no matter what coverage they're in, to get guys the ball. And that's huge.
And then as far as contracts, when you look at it, and I know you had other options and everything, and I know Nate asked you about, Rodgers to Mahomes, but just, NFL deals aren't generally 100% guaranteed, right? But your likelihood to get to the end of that deal would seem to be you'd benefit greatly by having a great quarterback, right? Your best chance to be a great receiver is have a guy throwing. It seems like, that would be an attraction because you're more likely to get paid every year of your deal if you're signing on with a great quarterback. Is that the mindset that you and your agent have when you were kind of looking at these deals, and having a chance to play with another great quarterback will make you more money?
Not necessarily, no. Obviously, you always want to have a great quarterback, but it was more so about walking into a building. Obviously, my top three teams were New Orleans and then the Packers outside of the Chiefs. So all those places had great quarterbacks. Jameis has thrown for 5,000 yards, in the season, and if he threw a few less picks, he would have been an MVP. Same conversation of Aaron and Pat. So obviously, I had three options where I could have been in a position where any of those places would have worked out for me with the quarterback situation. And, the finances weren't, a huge factor when it comes to the longevity of it. Obviously, Aaron's toward the end of his career, Pat's at the beginning of his career. Jameson, right in his prime. So obviously those things didn't really play a huge factor in it either. I think it was just more so what was the best place for me to do what I wanted to do as a player.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney with 6'10". Go ahead, Pete.
Congratulations, Marquez. Brad, I'll just have one quick thing after this. Just wanted to know so far your communication with Patrick, what that has been like, and do you guys intend to get together maybe even before some of these workouts start to throw together?
Yeah, he called me as soon as I landed in Kansas City, told me how bad he wanted me out there, so, that was good to even just, hear that. And then, as soon as I signed, he was one of the first people to call me and reach out and say how excited he was. And then, we talked about, possibly coming down to Texas and getting some throws in with him and some of the other guys. So that'll be good to do. And then obviously OTA is going to be right around the corner. So.
And then the second thing, I'm asking this in a good way, and you'd mentioned already the chip on your shoulder. Do you sense that there could be that type of thread between you and a McCole and a Juju, just in the sense of, for different reasons, kind of something to prove as a wide receiver room that you guys can be on that level for Pat?
I don't think it's really a something to prove. We all know what we can do, and I think that's what it is. It's never about, proving anybody else wrong. It's always about proving ourselves right, so we wouldn't be in that room if we couldn't play football, at the end of the day. And, the Chiefs all believe in us and we all believe in ourselves. And that's our primary focus, going to be the best version of ourselves,
We've got 4 more hands up. We'll go right down the line, starting with Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Marquez, welcome to Kansas City again, and hope your time is productive. 2 quick questions for you. How were you pitched? I mean, because just look at the timeline. Did you already know that Tyreek was going to be gone, and so when they recruited you, or what was the expectation when you first had the conversation with them? And then I do have a quick follow-up.
All right. Well, the name is Marquez, by the way.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
No worries. It's, I always correct it. But like I said, Kansas City wasn't really on my radar. And my agent called me and said, hey, Tariq may be traded out of there. Would you be interested in hearing what they have to say? And I said, yeah, 100%. I had been talking to a bunch of teams for, a week and just kind of weeding everything out and trying to make the best decision. Doing a lot of praying about it. And, the opportunity came, and, I said, yeah, of course I'll be interested. I would, love to play with Pat, and they're doing a lot of great things, and they compete for championships year in and year out. I've turned down a bunch of other deals for more money because I just didn't want to go and lose, so kind of how it was. And I'm super competitive, and it's not always about the money. So that was a factor in why my decision hadn't been made for a week.
Yeah. And,
That was
and
it.
and with that being said, I mean, were you pitched when you signed or when you were signing with them, were you pitched on the idea of being wide receiver number one, knowing that Juju was here? Because I know you've played, I guess you could say number two with Devontae Adams. So I mean, did you know that you were, are they bring you in as a number one wide receiver, number two, and then of course knowing that they still have picks in the draft that they might go after another wide receiver or trade for another one? Do you know exactly how they envision you here?
I was pitched on the opportunity. It wasn't about, you're going to be wide receiver one. You're going to come in and do exactly what Tyreek did for us and this, that, and the third. We're different players, So I pitched on the opportunity that you can come in and contribute and be a part of something special. And that was what was attractive. And obviously a great quarterback, in a winning organization.
Last three, we'll go next to Nick Jacobs. Go ahead, Nick.
And Brad, I'll have a follow-up. Marquez. Yeah, sorry. So my question for you is, going through what you did your freshman year and through high school, what was it able to teach you to reach that point, and what did you learn from those coaches that kind of helped you get to where you are now?
I just believing in myself. Like I said, obviously as a freshman, I wasn't good enough, to make the team. And I had to take accountability. Stop pointing the finger at everybody else and saying, no, they're not giving me a chance to this, that, and the third. And I had to say, I got to be better. And once I did that and use that as, self-motivation and learn how to, build that drive within myself and not need anybody else to do it. And took that and ran with it. And I've been self-motivated ever since. And I think it's paid off for me.
And then with each off season, when you're improving on finer points technique wise, how do you go about that when you're trying to work on your release or route running or a different type of catches or timing with a quarterback? What all do you like to do in an off season?
To be honest, I really haven't done anything differently. Each off season, I think it's just fine tuning the things that I do every day. I route run, so run routes more, and obviously I've had the best wide receiver in the NFL, teaching me. I can FaceTime him anytime and you got a question, no matter if he's in Las Vegas or Green Bay or wherever he is, I can give him a call and we can chop it up. Even when I signed my deal, he's one of the first people to call me because we have a great relationship. So having a guy like that, to kind of teach you the game and, becoming your own man and figuring out what you're good at and how you want to improve the things and being accountable to yourself is what I've done each offseason to become a better player.
Last two, we'll go Robert and then Todd. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Marquez. You talked a little bit earlier, or you mentioned it a little bit about you got offered more money other places. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the wide receiver market this offseason. I mean, did you and your agent expect so many receivers to get paid this offseason? I mean, including yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. Obviously, the salary cap went up a little bit, and it's a pass first league now. So you got to pay the guys to catch footballs for the best quarterbacks in the league. And that's kind of how it is.
And last to Todd Palmer. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, congrats, Marquez. I saw you joking on social media about the length of your last name, and I just wondered if there was a story you could share about the decision to hyphenate it and how long you've had a hyphenated last name.
Yes, so my last name is hyphenated because I took my stepdad's last name, the Scantling. He's been a part of my life since I was a baby. He's my role model. That's the person that I want to grow up and be just like. He's done so much for me. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all today if it wasn't for him. And that's why I chose to keep, take his last name. And why it's hyphenated is because, to be brutally honest, when I was 18, that's when I was legally allowed to change my name because my biological father wouldn't allow me to change it until I was 18. And by that time, I was already getting recruited by schools. So I didn't want to, miss out on any opportunities by having a different last name and they can't get in contact with me. So I just hyphenated it, and then it kind of just stuck throughout college, and here we are today with MVS as the name.
Marquez, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Hey man, I appreciate it as well.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Yep.